Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Bhaalist Crimson Mischief Bloodthirst build in Baldur's Gate 3. So we're going to be taking all three of these items and combining their effects alongside a few different subclasses that just make the best usage of this, and I'll be going over all the choices that we need to make in this. So we're going to start as the Ranger, and in particular the Gloom Stalker Ranger, because this gives us huge burst damage that we can take advantage. Now, I would not recommend really going with the heavy armor proficiency from Ranger Knight, since we're going to want to spend our time in the Bhaalist Armor. However, if you're going through and leveling your way up, you could take that, but we're going to go with the Bounty Hunter, because this is going to give us it gives targets disadvantage on their saving throw against ensnaring strikes, so that can be a pretty decent option for us. Now, the Beast Tamer does give us a fine familiar without a spell slot, which is nice for taking aggro, but I think it's actually best to go with the Wasteland Wanderer and give ourselves fire resistance. If you're already like a tiefling, go with the cold resistance or poison resistance. Just give yourself that extra resistance. That's super useful to have. And I'll go with the fire one there because I'm playing as a drow. As for our ability score makeup, this is obviously a dexterity heavy build. Now, if you got the Hag's Hair, you can take the dexterity up and put that to 18, but otherwise we'd go with 16 there. And then we're going to have a good amount of constitution. We do need some wisdom, so we can go with a bit of wisdom. And strength is going to be somewhat important too. It's going to give us our jump distance and things like that, but you can take that down or put your wisdom down. Ideally, we'd be able to get our wisdom up to 16 and have 16 dexterity, 14 constitution. However, if you got the amulet of greater health, you can also dump your constitution and put those points elsewhere, so you can go that route. And for our skill proficiencies, I would recommend having stealth. Obviously, that's a big component of this build because we're going to get in great positions to attack from. And then I would also recommend maybe like I guess survival just makes sense here. So we'll go with those there. And I'll be going through the full gear guide. Obviously, I named 3 of the pieces of gear already, but that'll be near the end of the video. And then I'll show you the combat guide and how we want to play through this. So at level 2, we get ourselves the ensnaring strike finally, so this can possibly ensnare the target, holding them in place. It does require concentration to hold them there, and it does use an action and a bonus action. So use this wisely, but it is nice early on. I also think that Fog Cloud has a lot of benefit here. Some people like Hail of Thorns, and some people like the Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark will deal additional damage, so you could potentially get a lot out of this. But Fog Cloud allows us to have a bit of stealth early game, so go with either Hunter's Mark or Fog Cloud. And for our fighting style, Archery makes the most sense, giving us a +2 to our attack rolls. It's an equivalent of a 10% more likelihood to hit our attacks. I am also a big fan of defense because we will be wearing light armor, and light armor is a little bit lighter, so getting an extra armor class is huge. However, you could go with 2-weapon fighting to add your ability modifier to the damage of the offhand weapon, but I'm just going to go with defense there because that +1 armor class is quite huge. Now, at level 3, we get to choose our subclass, and we're going with the Gloom Stalker because this gives us the Dread Ambusher, so we get a +3 to our initiative. That is huge. And on the first turn of combat, our movement speed increases by 3 meters, and you make an attack that deals an additional 1d8 damage. So we get an extra attack on the first round of combat, so that's huge. We also get Superior Dark Vision up to 24 meters, and the Dread Ambusher Hide and Umbral Shroud. So this gives us the ability to turn invisible, or to hide and also turn invisible. And we get Disguise Self, so if you have any weapons that benefit Gith or any other type of race, you can use those. And as for our spell that we'll take, we'll go with Hunter's Mark, although some people really do like Hail of Thorns. The only thing with Hail of Thorns is it does use your bonus action, so I don't love using a bonus action when we got many different options to do some range damage or offhand damage too. Now, if at level 4, we get ourselves a feat, and there's a few options that we could go with. I do think that probably the best choice early on in the game, you could go Alert to get the +5 initiative, but taking our dexterity up higher is going to give us a higher hit chance, and it's going to give us a higher armor class and a higher initiative, so what's not to love about that? Level 5, this is where the build gets its huge power spike, so we get an extra attack. In addition, we also get Misty Step, and I don't need to talk too much about how great Misty Step is, but it's a bonus action get out of jail free card, so that's huge. As for our next leveled spell, Spike Growth is another concentration that can be pretty solid to use because it's going to basically do piercing damage and lock the enemy in place. And with the Bhaalist Armor, we give vulnerability to piercing damage, so we can apply that with our Spike Growth, which is quite nice. So we're going to go with that for our next level. Now, once we get to level 6, I don't know if it's best to continue with this. I think it's actually better to go and add in the Rogue, because when we add in the Rogue, we now get our sneak attacks, so gives extra damage to a foe we have advantage against. And a nice thing is we can go with piercing damage like on all of this, so we get our nice bonus action dash and disengage at this point. We already had the bonus action hide. And then at level 3, we get to choose our subclass. Now, I think that Assassin just makes sense thematically. However, it depends how long combat goes for you usually. 3+ turns typically gets more benefit from another bonus action. That means you can do another offhand attack. However, the Assassin, if you're doing it in 1 to 2 rounds, is a little bit better. So you get advantage on attack rolls against creatures that haven't taken a turn yet. You get ambush, so an attack roll against a surprise creature. Free critical hit, that's free real estate. We like that. And we also get Assassin's Alacrity. So if you attack and start combat, you get your action and bonus action back. So that's great too. So we're going to go with the Assassin there. The Bhaalist Assassin. We may go that route. So we can get a feat here if we want to go and take our dexterity up to 20. However, I do think it's actually good to add in another class here. And I think the Fighter brings a lot to the table. So it does give us martial weapons, and I mean, I guess the Ranger already did that, but we get a fighting style too, so we can finally take our 2-weapon fighting. And this is going to be good if you want to use your offhand weapon often. Archery, again, is still great to give you that +2 to range weapon attacks, but 2-weapon fighting, pretty underrated. So we're going to go with that there. At level 2 fighter, we get an action surge, and you know what that does, an extra action, huge. And then at level 3, we get to choose our subclass. We could go Battle Master, but since we got spell slots from the Ranger, I think Eldritch Knight actually just makes a lot of sense for us. And it also gives us 2 cantrips that we can use. Minor Illusion is great for our stealth, because you can use Minor Illusion and it'll pull people away, and then you can go and attack them. And like Shocking Grasp has some benefit, because you can give advantage. It gives the target can't use reactions, and if they're wearing metal armor, it has advantage. So even though our intelligence isn't super high, you could use that. But I think that Mage Hand and Minor Illusion are 2 of the best cantrips here. You could also go with Friends if you're the face of the party, because it's going to give you advantage on charisma checks against a non-hostile creature. As for the spells that we get, Shield is absolutely incredible, so I would recommend taking Shield, because this doesn't scale off of our intelligence. It just gives us that +5 armor class on reaction, which is huge. And Magic Missile is pretty nice too, because this doesn't require intelligence to hit. We always hit with it, and it deals 2 to 5 force damage each, and you get 3 of them. So it is pretty good. You could also go with Thunder Wave, but we'd want to have a higher intelligence, so maybe use the Circlet if you really want to go that route. But I think Shield and Magic Missile work great. And then from the expanded spell slots, we can actually come back around full circle and give ourselves Find Familiar if we wanted to. We can also go with Long Strider to increase movement speed by 3. However, you can have someone at camp cast this on everyone, so you don't have to take it, but that is another option. Our intelligence is too low to really make a big benefit out of a lot of these, so it'd be like False Life, Long Strider, Enhanced Leap if you want to jump around a lot. I think Find Familiar just works great, though, because it's just a cat that you can pull aggro with. But for our final level, you can take, I think that taking Fighter, it gives, obviously, we get a spell from here in a spell slot, so it's a bit more than the Rogue gives. So we can take, like, there's not great choices here. Like, we're already going to get, we're wearing light armor, so that doesn't benefit us. Protection from good and evil could work, but yeah, it's actually like a tough choice here because we're not going to use these too much. But we do get ourselves a feat, and then we can take our dexterity up to 20. Also, the alert for the +5 initiative, as I mentioned earlier, is really nice. And if you want to use attacks from within close range, go with 2 crossbows. You can also go with crossbow expert, so when you make crossbow attacks with melee range, attack rolls do not have disadvantage, and your piercing shot also inflicts gaping wounds for twice as long. So what's nice about this is we can get in close and use our crossbows to trigger the Bhaalist Armor's benefit, but I don't know if that's better than taking our dexterity up higher, but it is an option that you got. You can also go with something like the mobile, so movement speed increases and difficult terrain doesn't slow you down when you dash, and then you don't provoke opportunity attacks. If you want to be very mobile, you can go with that. I do think it's best to just stick with our, even sharpshooter, to give yourself +10 to damage and -5 to attack rolls, but dexterity is going to give us armor class, initiative, and more damage on our attacks, so that's the way that I'm going with it. Now, our build is quite strong, so I'll go over the gear that we're going to be using on this. So we're going to obviously have the Bhaalist Armor here. So Aura of Murder. Enemies within 2 meters become vulnerable to piercing damage unless they're resistant or immune to it, and a +2 to initiative. Now we do, while we're wearing it, we do have, I guess, the Aura of Murder here, a similar image to the Assassin. So this is funny. It says enemies within 3 meters are vulnerable to piercing damage, whereas this says 2 meters, and it actually is 3 meters. So that's nice. We got 24 armor class, which is not bad considering we got light armor, and we're wearing, I guess, things that give us plus armor class. So Helm of Baldur and +1 armor class saving throws, can't be stunned, can't be critical hit, and we heal 2 every turn. Evasive shoes and the cloak of protection for that extra I guess we could get up to 25 too with the Ring of Protection. And also there's gloves that'll increase your armor class that I don't have on this, so you could go with that too. But I think that the best choices would be to go with our Ring of Protection, and then obviously Killer Sweetheart is a big boost because this gives us a at will critical hit. I have the Crimson Mischief in our main hand though, because having the Bloodthirst in the main hand would give the critical hit whenever we attack with it, but in the offhand it gives us +1 to our armor class, and we get the True Strike Riposte, so when an attack misses you, you may retaliate and gain True Strike. Also the Crimson Mischief, this is awesome. It gives a ton of damage, and then additional 1 to 4 piercing damage against targets that have 50% of their health points or fewer, so that basically gives us another damage die on it. And then we also get the Redevin Savagery, so when you make an attack with advantage, the target takes an additional 7 piercing damage, which is doubled to 14 with the Bhaalist Armor. So huge. We want to attack with advantage as much as possible because we just get a crazy amount of damage out of it. I also put the Helldust gloves on. This gives a 1+1 to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. Not important to us, but it gives us 1d6 of fire damage in addition to that. So a nice another damage buff. We also got the Amulet of Greater Health. 145 health because the fighter gives a bit more health is really nice. So the usual way we want to be going about this. So turning yourself invisible is kind of the best thing that we can do because this gives us advantage on our attacks. So you can literally just go up and do our sneak attacks now. Oh, we broke our Umbral Shroud, so we're not in our heavy, but we would have had our critical. We don't have advantage right now, so yeah, that is one of the nice benefits of the I didn't use it quick enough, but we do get that extra benefit. You can also use the Dread Ambusher Hide to give yourself that critical hit, so we got a 99 hit chance on him. And yeah, Luck of the Far Realms, we rolled 29. We don't even need to react with that, but that did a good amount of health already, so pretty solid. And we can attack again and critical miss, but we still managed to hit. And then finally Will's just going back to drinking his drink, and offhand or main hand weapon there, able to take him out in 3 hits, so that's pretty nice. He knows to get out of the way. But we can still attack with advantage. We basically want to be attacking with advantage as much as we can. We just got a critical hit, so we don't need to react. That almost took him out in 1 shot, so that is huge. And then you can only do a sneak attack once per turn, so that's one thing you got to remember. But the damage die that we got is massive, so we got that critical hit off already, so we'll just continue our savagery and run around. Got spotted there, but yeah, you typically want to be stealthing it as much as possible. We also have the weapon bond, which is pretty okay, but we got our stealth off there, and we got our critical hit, boom, and we almost took her out again. So we also got options like Ensnaring Strike or Spike Growth for crowd control, and then things like Minor Illusion are nice too, because you can like create that cat there and it pulls everyone together. So that is another huge benefit of this class, is we got that Eldritch Knight Minor Illusion. Oh, we got a critical miss there. We also have some other things, like we got Ray of Fire from the this is not going to have advantage because we're attacking from close range, but that is from the gloves that we got there. And yeah, this build is very powerful for a number of reasons. We also got a Fine Familiar, and I would recommend going with the Raven because they can fly around, and with the Raven they also got the attack that can blind a creature. So it is a low hit chance, but even if you can get a blind off, that's nice because it's going to give you advantage on your attack rolls, so you can get your sneak attacks off. So yeah, having a Fine Familiar is pretty nice. So there we go, we got our attack went off, and then we can get ourselves the advantage on an attack roll, and we got a huge hit against Shadowheart there. So I feel bad doing this, but we also got things like Magic Missile, which have a hit chance of 10 or 100%, so you'll never miss with that. And it'll allow you to hit targets that are like pretty far away. Like if you're looking to, we could even hit, barely even see her, but we can hit Mizora from here. So this is great if you have nothing else to do and you can't move to a spot where you could get a hit off. You can also do that. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is not a bad one too. We have a very low hit chance with it. We managed to get it off though, and that gives you the advantage on attacks. So you can just do your sneak attacks while they got the Tasha's Hideous Laughter off. But it's really strong how powerful that we can get this build. With our sneak attacks, we're pretty much unstoppable. So you want to ideally get as many sneak attacks as you can with this. That is really the main purpose of this build. So yeah, stealth often. You got the Umbral Shroud once per short rest. We also have Fog Cloud to give ourselves advantage on our attacks as well, so you can go with that, and then we get ourselves blinded, but you can also go ahead and I guess he's just out of the cloud. Normally they wouldn't move out of the cloud, but you could even go in here and stealth inside the cloud, and then when you come out of it, you have a much less chance of getting spotted. So that is a nice benefit of the fog cloud, is it gives you the ability to hide, and as you can see, the line of sights are broken when you get into here, so you can go in, hide, come back out, and then attack with your sneak attacks. So that gives you multiple different ways to give yourself survivability. Fog Cloud is underrated. I don't think a lot of people like the spell that much, but it is really good. I also played as a drow because we get a nice benefit of being able to cast Darkness too. So the racial trait Darkness is a pretty effective spell. It does have a concentration, but what's super useful about it is we can just use that as like a Hail Mary if we need to. And yeah, we get our sneak attacks off. As you can see, pretty strong. Now I'm going to go, I guess, go and sneak attack him. And we can't have disadvantage. Hiding is not successful. Stop that. Stop that. We'll try and stealth it again. He's not letting us stealth. So, why are you sneaking around? So we're going to use our fog cloud friend here. Again, this is the best part about this is being able to go and sneak. Now you can use gear that's going to make you resist being blinded. Oh, he's going to do this, is he? Oh, he's out of it. So we can go ahead. Did you hear something? And then sneak attack. Oh, well, I somehow hit him. But we get our action, our bonus action back, and then we can do some crazy stuff with this. So we can get in. We can do our Dread Ambusher attack. He does have high defense, but we just hit him for 40 and 12. So very nice. We can also do some things like Piercing Strike. So giving ourselves the ability to, yeah, take him out in 1-2 shots. Sorry, Duke. I also didn't even mention, but for crossbows, go with the Hellfire hand crossbow to inflict burning on the target, as well as a Fire Stoker, which will do additional piercing damage on burning targets. So that is a really good choice. I'm not going to fight Scratch, but yeah, one nice thing about this build is just the overall damage. And we also, if we have to, we can throw the Blade of the First Blood, because it'll just come right back to us. I don't think it'll let me throw it at her, but we can throw it at Volo. So, yeah, we can one-shot Volo with it. And, yeah, it comes right back to your hand. So this is a Bhaalist build, or a Bhaalist Armor build with the Blade of the First Blood, or Bloodthirst, and the Crimson Mischief. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.